In the far corner of the galaxy, near the Helion Rift, something appeared that no one had ever seen before. A fleet of alien ships, huge, black, and silent, slid out of deep space like ghosts. They had no markings, no signals, and no answers. They hovered just outside the Empire's border, unmoving, watching. Panic spread fast. Virion Prime, the capital of the Galactic Empire, called for an emergency session. News reports blasted across star systems. People feared invasion. Some feared worse. Commander Lyra Miles stood quietly in the Imperial Command Hall. She watched the footage of the alien fleet on the large screen. Her short black hair framed a calm face, but her eyes were sharp and alert. "How many ships are there?" she asked. "Over 200, replied General Trask, the head of defense, "and more are arriving every hour." "Have they attacked?" Lyra asked. "No, not yet," Trask said. "But we can't take chances. We're mobilizing the 3rd and 5th fleets. You'll command the front line, Commander Miles." Lyra nodded, but something felt off. No demands, no contact, just silence. "I need a few hours to run scans," she said. "We don't know who they are. We don't even know if they're alive." "There's no time," the general snapped. "We strike first. Show them what happens when you challenge the Empire." Lyra didn't argue. Not yet. Within hours, she was aboard the Icarus, her flagship. The fleet warped to the edge of the Helion Rift, where the alien ships waited. Her crew was tense. Weapons were armed, shields up. The alien fleet remained still. "Open a channel," Lyra said. "Try to make contact." No response, her comm officer said. "They're not answering anything." "Strange," she whispered. "Why come all this way and say nothing?" Then, without warning, the alien ships moved. They didn't attack. They didn't flee. They simply changed formation, fast and smooth, like a dance in space. "They're preparing for something," said her tactical officer. "Hold position," Lyra ordered. One alien ship suddenly fired. A powerful energy beam shot across space, slicing through one of the Empire's cruisers. In seconds the battle began. The sky lit up with fire and metal. Lyra's fleet fought hard, but the alien ships were faster, stronger, and smarter. Their weapons bent around shields. Their movements predicted every counter. "This isn't a war," Lyra said to herself. "It's a test." Just when it seemed the alien fleet would crush them, they stopped. As quickly as they had started, the ships pulled back and vanished into deep space. Silence again. "Commander," the comm officer called. "We received a message just before they left." "Put it through." A voice came through, cold, clear, not human. "This was not the invasion. The real army hasn't even arrived yet." Lyra stared at the screen. Something worse was coming. Back on Virion Prime, the heart of the Galactic Empire pulsed with fear. Holoscreens across the city showed images of the battle at Helion Rift, fires in space, ships torn apart. Families cried. Leaders shouted. Everyone wanted answers. Inside the Imperial Command Center, Commander Lyra Miles stood before the High Council. Her uniform was singed, her face tired, but her voice was steady. "We were outmatched," she said. "Their ships were faster, smarter. They didn't fight to destroy us. They were testing us." Several senators murmured. High Marshal Varen, the head of military policy, leaned forward. "Are you saying the Empire is weak?" he asked sharply. "No," Lyra replied. "I'm saying we don't know who we're fighting, and we're not ready for what's coming." She paused, then added, "Before the enemy left, they sent us a message. They said, 'The real army hasn't even arrived yet.' That means this was only the beginning." Some laughed. Others frowned. "Could be a scare tactic," said Senator Corrin. "Maybe they're bluffing." Lyra shook her head. "No, they had the chance to finish us. They didn't. That means they're waiting for something." General Trask stood beside her, stiff and angry. "Commander Miles is letting fear cloud her judgment. We should be preparing our fleets, not spreading panic." The council voted quickly. Most sided with Trask. "You're dismissed, Commander," said the Chancellor. "We'll handle this from here." Outside, the city lights glowed under a pale sky. Lyra walked through the long corridor of the command tower, her mind racing. Something was wrong, terribly wrong, and no one wanted to see it. She made a quick call. Kel, I need you. Kel was not human. He was an AI intelligence with a human-like form and a voice like smooth glass. He had once helped Lyra during a pirate crisis years ago. Now, he worked in data analysis, far from the front lines. He appeared as a glowing projection beside her. You look tired, he said softly. I need you to analyze the message we received from the alien ship, she said. All of it. Tone, pattern, encryption, everything. Kel tilted his head. You believe there's a hidden meaning. I believe it's more than just a threat, Lyra replied. And I don't trust the council to ask the right questions. He nodded. Send me the data. I'll begin now. Later that night, Lyra met someone she hadn't seen in a long time, Ren Solari, once a top diplomat, now disgraced and living quietly in the lower sectors. He smiled when he saw her. Didn't expect to see you again. I need your help, Lyra said. You've dealt with unknown species before. What do you make of this? She showed him the battle footage and the message. Ren's smile faded. That's not how conquerors behave, he said. That's how explorers behave. Or scouts. They're not here to take over. They're here to warn us. Warn us? Lyra asked. Think about it, Ren said. They came. They tested. They left. That message, it wasn't a threat. It was a warning. Lyra stared at him. Then what are they warning us about? Ren looked out the window at the stars above. I don't know. But if that wasn't the real army, we might not survive what comes next. Lyra knew what she had to do. She couldn't wait for the council. She needed more answers. And fast. Deep in uncharted space, far beyond the Empire's reach, the alien fleet moved in silence. Their ships floated through the darkness, like shadows. Inside the largest vessel, a figure stood alone before a wide observation window. Admiral Vorik of the Xanthari Collective was tall and slender, with skin like glass and eyes that glowed faintly blue. He wore no armor, only a long dark robe marked with strange symbols. A younger alien officer approached. The humans resisted harder than expected, Admiral. They were not meant to win, Vorik replied calmly. They were meant to see. To see what? Vorik turned slowly. That they are not ready. The officer hesitated. Shall we prepare the second wave? Vorik raised a hand. No, not yet. Let them think. Let them doubt. If they are wise, they will seek the truth. He stared into the stars. They must know the real danger is not us. On Virion Prime, Commander Lyra Miles sat in a quiet hidden room deep beneath the city. Her AI ally, Kel, stood nearby, projecting lines of glowing data into the air. I've finished analyzing the message, Kel said. And? Lyra asked. It wasn't encoded, but it used a layered frequency. A second message was hidden under the first. Lyra leaned forward. Play it. Kel adjusted the signal. A different voice played. Slower, deeper and clear. We are not your enemy. Prepare your kind. The true war is coming. Lyra's heart pounded. It confirmed what she feared. Ren Solari stepped into the room. I've been watching trade routes. Something big is moving in from outside our galaxy. Refugee ships, odd energy signals, vanishing colonies, quiet, but real. Lyra stood up. It's time we talk to them directly. Ren's eyes widened. You want to contact the Centauri? Yes, Lyra said. I don't believe they're here to conquer us. I believe they know something we don't, something we need to survive. But how? Ren asked. The council will never approve it. I won't ask for permission. With Kel's help, Lyra sent a signal through a deep space relay, coded in the same frequency used by the Centauri. She gave her location and a single message. We need to talk. Not as enemies, as survivors. For hours nothing happened. Then Kel spoke. We have a reply. The voice of Vorik filled the room. Come to neutral ground. Sector 7. Moon 19. You'll come alone. Ren frowned. It could be a trap. Lyra nodded. Yes, But if we don't understand them, we'll walk into something much worse. She took a stealth ship and jumped through hyperspace, alone. Moon 19 was barren and gray, circling a dead planet. The air was thin but breathable. Lyra landed in silence. One alien ship had already arrived. Vorak stood waiting. He looked at her with calm eyes. "You are the first human to see my face. I came for answers," she said. "Then you are wiser than your leaders," Vorak replied. He walked beside her, slowly, his voice quiet. "We came not to conquer, but to warn. Our sensors have seen what sleeps beyond this galaxy. A machine force, old as time, cold and endless. We call it the Null Core. It devours everything." Lyra listened, trying to stay calm. "Why warn us?" she asked. "Because we cannot stop it alone," Vorak said. "Your empire is proud, but pride will not save you. We came to test your strength. Now we know." Lyra looked at him. "And, you will not survive what's coming, unless we stand together." She believed him, not because of his words, but because of his eyes. There was no hate in them, only fear. Commander Lyra Miles returned to Virion Prime under cover of darkness. Her ship landed in a hidden docking bay far from the eyes of the Empire's officials. The city outside was busy as ever, but inside the walls of Imperial Command, things were changing. Fear was growing. Lyra walked quickly through the lower halls with Kel and Ren beside her. She had what the Council needed, evidence of something far worse than the Exenthery, and she was ready to speak the truth. But she was already too late. As she stepped into the upper chamber of the command center, 2 guards stopped her. "Commander Miles, you are under arrest by order of the High Council," one said, "for unauthorized contact with the enemy and violation of military code." Lyra stood still. "You don't understand. We do not need more lies," said General Trask, stepping forward with cold eyes. "You went to meet with the enemy. That makes you a traitor." Ren tried to speak, but Lyra raised her hand. "I need to speak to the Council, just 5 minutes." "There will be no speech," Trask said. "Take her to the holding cells." Before the guards could grab her, Kel triggered a flash of light. The room's systems blinked out for just a moment, long enough for Lyra and Ren to slip out a side door. They ran, down dark corridors, through maintenance tunnels, out into the streets. They hid in an old service station deep in the city's lower district. There Lyra sent a message to one person she still trusted, Captain Juno Hesse, an old friend now working patrol in the outer systems. The reply came fast. "I'll meet you at the old relay station. You'd better have a good reason for this." Later that night, under heavy rain, Lyra, Ren, and Kel arrived at the abandoned relay tower. Juno was already there. She crossed her arms. "You've caused a storm, Lyra. What's going on?" Lyra showed her everything. The battle recordings, the hidden message, the meeting with Vorak, and the truth about the Null Core. Juno's face slowly changed from suspicion to worry. "They're not the threat," Lyra said. "They're the warning." Juno nodded slowly. "Then we need to make the Empire listen, even if they won't hear it from you." "No," Lyra said. "They won't believe anything now. I've been branded a traitor. If I go back, I'll be silenced." Ren stepped forward. "Then we go around them. We send the truth to the people. Every citizen, every soldier. Let them decide who the real enemy is." Kel opened the old relay system. It still worked. Within hours they sent a signal across the Empire. It was short, clear, and impossible to ignore. "This is Commander Lyra Miles. I bring a warning from beyond the stars. The Centauri are not our enemy. Something worse is coming, something ancient and unstoppable. The Null Core. We must prepare, or we will all fall." On a mining colony near the edge of space, a worker paused and watched the message. In a starport lounge, a pilot listened. Across the galaxy, people heard her voice. And somewhere near the edge of known space, something arrived. A dark shape slid out of the void. Massive, silent, not alive but not dead either. It moved toward a nearby moon. Then it began to break it apart. Slowly, piece by piece, as if it were nothing but a toy. No lights, no sound, no warning, just destruction. And it didn't stop. The message spread faster than Lyra expected. Across colonies, ships, and stations, people heard her voice. Some believed it, others called it lies. But the seed was planted. In the outer regions of the Empire, soldiers began to question orders. Civilian leaders started asking for more information. Even inside the military, some officers quietly reached out to her, offering support. Still, the High Council said nothing. They shut down media channels, labeled the message a hoax, and declared Lyra a fugitive. But she wasn't hiding. In a quiet asteroid base, hidden behind the gas clouds of Sector 9, Lyra met again with Admiral Vorek. The Centauri fleet had gathered there, away from human eyes. Their ships floated like silent beasts in the dark. Vorek greeted her with a nod. The null core has entered your space. It has already consumed 2 moons and 1 colony. No survivors. Lyra's face hardened. Then we don't have much time. She brought with her a few trusted allies. Captain Juno Hesse, Kel the AI, and Ren Solari. All stood around a circular table with Centauri officers. For the first time, humans and aliens worked side by side. Kel displayed the latest scans. The null core doesn't just destroy, it absorbs. It uses what it takes to grow stronger. Ren added, the more it consumes, the smarter it becomes, and the harder it will be to stop. Vorek spoke next. We tried to fight it alone once. We lost half our kind. We came here not to conquer, but to prepare a defense. Lyra nodded. Then we fight it together. The alliance began. Centauri scientists shared data on the null core's patterns. Human engineers brought weapon designs and tech that the aliens had never seen before. Together, they built a plan. At the center of it was a new weapon, a hybrid gravity disruptor, combining Centauri energy channels with human particle focus arrays. It would take time to build, and only one could be made in secret. But if it worked, it might crack the null core's defenses. Juno oversaw the human pilots. We'll need the best. No room for mistakes. Lyra trained with them. She would lead the attack herself. As work continued, Kel monitored the edge of space. They're coming faster now, he reported. Pieces of the null core are moving toward key systems. They're not just feeding anymore. They're hunting. One night, Lyra stood alone on a dark platform, staring into the stars. Ren approached quietly. You okay? I keep thinking about the council, she said. About how many people still don't believe. They will, Ren said, once they see it for themselves. That moment came sooner than expected. A mining outpost called Gavros Station sent a final signal. Screaming voices, alarms, static. Then nothing. Vorek received the images first. The null core had arrived in full. A dark shape larger than any fleet. A cloud of black machines surrounding it, breaking apart ships, buildings, even rock itself. Everything vanished. Everything gone. Lyra stared at the footage. Her jaw clenched. We're out of time. They loaded the new weapon onto a stealth cruiser. The joint fleet assembled. Humans and Centauri side by side, ready for their first battle as allies. Lyra stood at the front of the ship, looking at the stars. This wasn't just about defense anymore. It was about survival. The sky above planet Darcis turned dark, long before nightfall. From space, it looked like a shadow had covered the system. Ships in orbit began to lose signal. Energy readings spiked. Satellites fell silent. And then, without a single warning shot, the null core arrived. It moved like a storm, massive, silent, and cold. At its center was a black sphere, the size of a small planet. Around it spun clouds of machines, swarming like insects. They didn't speak. They didn't stop. They devoured. Lyra Miles stood on the command deck of her ship, the Valor. Her fleet was in formation just outside the Darcis system, hidden behind the asteroid belt. Half of the ships were Centauri. The rest were human. This is it, she said. We hit fast. We hit hard. Get that gravity disruptor into position. We only get one shot. Juno Hess's voice came through the comm. We're locked and ready. The null core is absorbing the moon. We move in 60 seconds. Lyra looked at the screen. The moon near Darcis was being torn apart, slowly like peeling layers off a fruit. Large chunks floated into the black swarm, vanishing in flashes of blue light. The null core wasn't just feeding, it was growing. Kel spoke from his station. The target point is exposed. If we hit the core now, the shockwave could slow it down. It might even break it apart. Or make it angry, Ren muttered. Lyra nodded. All ships, engage. The fleet jumped into position. Centauri cruisers fired wide-range beam weapons to scatter the swarm. Human ships launched torpedoes and drones, clearing a path through the chaos. Fighters zipped through gaps, drawing enemy fire. The null core responded instantly. It released clouds of defense machines, black spinning things with razor-sharp limbs and no heat signatures. They moved fast and without fear, tearing through anything in their way. Lyra's ship rocked under impact. We've lost contact with 2 flanks, Juno said. We need to get that disruptor in position now. Stay focused, Lyra ordered. We didn't come here to run. The ship carrying the gravity disruptor, piloted by a mixed crew, moved straight toward the core. It was slow. The swarm began to close around it. Lyra took a risk. She broke formation and led 3 ships directly into the swarm, firing everything they had. The machines turned toward her. Now go, she shouted. The disruptor ship reached the right spot and activated the weapon. For a moment nothing happened. Then light, a blinding pulse tore through space, white, clean, and sharp. The machines closest to the core froze. The outer layer of the null core cracked and began to break apart, like glass under pressure. The dark sphere inside pulsed wildly, then went dim. Silence. For 10 seconds, everything stopped. Then came the wave. The damaged core released a shock wave that knocked ships off course. Some lost power, others were destroyed, but the fleet held. Kel's voice returned. The null core is retreating. It's folding into deep space. We've heard it. It's leaving, for now. Lyra sat down slowly. Her hands were shaking. We won, Juno said over comms. No, Lyra whispered. We survived. Later, as crews repaired ships and tended to the wounded, Lyra stood at the observation deck, staring into space. Vorik approached. This was only a fragment of what is coming, he said. The core you saw today was a scout. Lyra didn't move. How long do we have? Not long enough, Vorik replied. But now we fight as one. Behind them humans and Centauri worked side by side, preparing for the next battle. The stars over Virion Prime shone cold and clear. A week had passed since the battle at Darcis. The fleet was damaged, but alive. The null core scout had been driven back. Across the Empire, people no longer doubted the truth. Lyra Miles stood before the Imperial High Council once again, but this time the room was silent with respect, not judgment. The Chancellor spoke first. We have reviewed the evidence. We watched the recordings. We've seen what you saw. Lyra didn't speak. She waited. You were right, he admitted. And we were wrong. General Trask, once so proud and loud, now stood quiet in the corner, his head lowered. The Chancellor continued. You are hereby reinstated and promoted to High Commander of Defense. You will lead the joint force against the null core threat. Lyra gave a short nod. I accept. But this isn't about titles. It's about survival. We don't have time for politics anymore. He nodded. Agreed. Out in space the work had already begun. Centauri engineers and human scientists built new weapons together. Defense stations were placed at key systems. New recruits trained side by side, different species, one purpose. The joint fleet had a name now. The Alliance Corps. Lyra walked through the command deck of her new flagship, the Unity, sleek and powerful. She passed officers from both worlds. Everyone was focused, determined, ready. Kel stood beside her. The null core has gone silent, but we've picked up strange signals from the galactic edge. Movement. Energy. Something is gathering. Ren entered, holding a datapad. Look at this, he said. It's not just the null core. There are other ancient signals. Faint, but active. We might not be fighting one enemy. We might be fighting a force much bigger than we thought. Juno joined them. Then we keep preparing. That weapon we used at Darcis, it worked. We build more. We fight smarter. We hold the line. Lyra looked at all of them. Her old crew. Her new allies. Her purpose. We don't wait for them to come to us next time, she said. We go looking. We find their path. And we block it. They all nodded. The future was uncertain. The threat was greater than ever. But they were not afraid. Lyra stepped onto the observation deck. The stars stretched out before her. Endless quiet and waiting. She spoke softly to herself. Words meant for no one but the darkness. The real army hasn't even arrived yet. And now they would be ready.